Welcome back to ABCGH Spoilers channel. Today we dive deep into the latest drama and intrigue in Port Charles, exploring hidden motivations, secret alliances, and the emotional journeys of your favorite characters. Get comfortable as we embark on an expansive, insightful journey that lifts the veil on what's coming up for the residents of General Hospital. Sunny Corinthos, confronting fate and family bonds. Our story comes to a dramatic crescendo with the ever-resilient Sunny Corinthos, who's facing one of the most challenging moments of his life. In a bustling Los Angeles hospital, just before going under the knife for a crucial heart procedure, Sunny sits quietly, reflecting on the love and loss that has colored his journey. Surrounded by the sterile hum of medical machines, his mind races with thoughts of his fractured family, old rivals, and the mounting threats lurking in the shadows. Brick, Sunny's trusted confidant, is elated to learn that Carly Spencer will be at Sunny's side during this ordeal. Their deep bond, developed over years of hardship and triumph, becomes a beacon of hope not only for Sunny but for viewers who have followed their story. Sunny's current predicament is layered. Not only must he face the surgical risks, but he's also a marked man. Sinister forces have orchestrated another attempt on his life, complicating what should be a personal and vulnerable moment with the ever-present danger of his world. This is more than a storyline about illness, it's about the strength found in unity. Dante and Christina Corinthos Davis, recognizing their father's vulnerability, set aside their differences and rally for his cause, proving once again that family, for all its chaos, is ultimately a source of resilience and hope in the world of Port Charles. Jason and Danny, navigating grief and rebuilding trust. Meanwhile, at the heart of Port Charles, Jason Morgan sits in quiet contemplation with his son, Danny. The loss of Sam McCall, a wound that seems to never fully heal, propels this father and son into unfamiliar emotional territory. Jason, typically stoic and reserved, finds himself struggling to articulate the depth of his empathy as Danny confides the emptiness that now shadows his heart. Instead of offering platitudes, Jason listens, understanding that young Danny doesn't want hollow reassurances. Instead, Jason pledges to bolster his son, to be a steadfast presence in Danny's life no matter how arduous the road ahead may be. Their poignant exchange not only highlights the importance of vulnerability but also opens doors to healing. It's a testament to the show's ability to portray complex emotional dynamics, and one can't help but wonder what challenges and triumphs will come as Jason redefines his role in Danny's world. Rick and Molly, ultimatums and unmatched tension. Not far from the hospital's bustling halls, Rick Lansing finds himself caught in the crosshairs of familial disapproval and the pull of romantic entanglement with Ava Jerome. Molly Lansing, perceptive and fiercely protective, confronts her father, warning that becoming too close to Ava is akin to playing with fire. Her words are more than a simple warning, they carry the weight of implicit ultimatum. If Rick continues down this path, he may be risking his relationship with his daughter. Rick's internal conflict is palpable as he wonders aloud whether Molly truly needs to sever ties. The emotional tension between father and daughter is both heartrending and relatable, as viewers see the universal struggle of balancing personal happiness against the risk of losing loved ones. This arc not only heightens the stakes in Rick and Molly's relationship but also underscores how choices in love often echo far beyond the surface, impacting the entire family dynamic. Marco Rios. Legal intrigue and complicated loyalties. Shifting focus to the city's legal sphere, we find Marco Rios entangled in a web of suspicion and opportunity. At the esteemed law offices of Alexis Davis and Diane Miller, Marco is scrutinized for his ties to Jen Sidwell, long speculated to be embroiled in various questionable dealings. Diane, ever the shrewd legal mind, is wary. Alexis, looking to the future, is determined but cautious. Their decision to hire Marco doesn't come easily. Alexis lays down strict ground rules, making it abundantly clear that any proven connection to Sidwell's illicit activities will result in his immediate dismissal. This bold move from Alexis signals her commitment to integrity, but it also demonstrates the risks of trusting an outsider when stakes are at their highest. Marco, meanwhile, is left to prove himself, his loyalty, and perhaps even his innocence. The tension here acts as a microcosm for larger conflicts in Port Charles, where alliances are always shifting and loyalties are constantly in flux. Lucas and Lulu, the adoption story that could change everything. At the same time, Lucas Jones finds himself at the center of a deeply personal narrative, one that resounds with themes of identity, belonging, and forgiveness. Having navigated the often rough waters of adoption himself, Lucas is about to give an interview to Lulu Spencer, who is writing a poignant feature for the Landview Banner. As they meet, Lucas opens up about the profound impact his biological father's return has had on his life, and how his understanding of family has evolved over the years. Julian Jerome, Lucas' biological father, continues to linger in Lucas' thoughts, particularly now that shocking revelations about Jen Sidwell and Marco Rios have come to light. Lucas' willingness to share his experience illustrates the healing potential of open dialogue and self-acceptance, themes that resonate widely for anyone who's struggled with questions of identity and connection. Lulu, as ever, is determined to tell a compelling and sensitive story, even as the ripple effects of this interview threaten to unearth long-buried secrets elsewhere in town. Brooklyn's turmoil, secrets at risk. No storyline in Port Charles would be complete without a healthy dose of Quartermain drama, and Brooklyn is right at its core. Unbeknownst to her, Lulu's adoption story threatens to unlock painful secrets. Brooklyn has worked hard to keep hidden as secrets that could jeopardize her fragile relationship with Dante Falconeri. The possibility that Dante might learn about the baby she gave up for adoption years ago becomes the catalyst for Brooklyn's mounting anxiety. As Brooklyn learns about the story Lulu is crafting, panic sets in. She dives into worst-case scenarios, envisioning how her carefully reconstructed world might unravel. The tension escalates as she considers confronting Lulu, weighing the risks of exposure against the need to control her narrative. This moment is a study in the burden of secrets, how they shape lives and relationships, lurking beneath the surface until circumstances force them into the light. Cody Bell's chance encounter, small injuries, big revelations. Finally, the day's drama begins, as Cody Bell arrives at General Hospital with a minor injury. What should have been a routine wait for a doctor becomes a turning point. He crosses paths with Brooklyn, an encounter steeped in misunderstanding and past grievances. Cody, ever the overthinker, assumes that Brooklyn is upset with him due to a previous incident involving Dante and Lulu. Brooklyn, for her part, is too distracted by her own anxieties to clarify her feelings. Their conversation becomes a microcosm of Port Charles's larger web of relationships, fraught with miscommunication, half-truths, and emotional baggage. As they talk, it becomes clear that even the smallest events in this town can trigger seismic shifts, forever altering the course of its residents' lives. Now, with all these threads in motion, Sonny's battle for survival, Jason and Danny's journey through grief, Rick and Molly's charged confrontation, legal intrigue at the law office, the potential upheaval in Lucas and Brooklyn's lives, and Cody's fateful hospital visit, the stage is set for a week of explosive revelations and emotional reckonings. Next, we'll unravel one of the most intriguing and emotionally charged issues facing our Port Charles favorites, Nina Reeves' risky machinations concerning Drew Kane's legal guardian documents and the far-reaching impact on Willow Corinthos, Wiley, and Amelia. By flipping the story's traditional structure and expanding each element, we'll not only change the perspective but also drop deeper into motivations, possibilities, and dramatic consequences. Let's dive into this week's labyrinth of hidden agendas, simmering resentments, and desperate maneuvers. Willow's growing doubts and Drew's unraveling plan. As the dust begins to settle on the chaos surrounding legal guardianship, there are growing whispers about the consequences of Willow Corinthos' pivotal decision. After much soul-searching and intense emotional conversations, Willow initially agreed to Drew Kane's proposal, placing her future and her children Wiley and Amelia's largely in Drew's hands. At the time, the idea seemed logical, secure, trustworthy. Drew was a safety net for her young family if the unthinkable were to happen. But what began as a gesture of careful planning is now ricocheting through Willow's world with all the destructive force of a runaway train. Recent developments suggest that Willow may soon start to question whether she made the right call. The gravity of handing over such critical parental rights is beginning to weigh on her. What if Drew's real motives are less pure than they seemed? Is she allowing herself to be manipulated, or did she simply overlook the possibility of future betrayal? These doubts, swirling in Willow's mind, become even more potent as outside forces, especially Nina, begin to interfere, threatening not only her peace of mind but also her relationship with Drew, Carly, and her own sense of agency. As Drew's fragile plans teeter on the edge, speculation grows about how he'll react if his carefully orchestrated legal maneuver starts to fall apart. Would he lash out in frustration? Or reveal new secrets in a desperate move to regain control? The suspense is nearly unbearable as viewers wonder if Drew's intentions will ever be fully exposed. Nina's calculated sabotage, when desperation breeds deception. Shifting focus to the heart of the drama, Nina Reeves emerges as a formidable player. Her actions are not born merely from spite but from a perceived necessity to protect her grandchildren. The mere thought of Drew, legally empowered to make decisions for Wiley and Amelia, sends shivers down Nina's spine. In her eyes, Drew's influence represents an existential threat to her family's stability and her own tenuous place in her grandchildren's lives. With the week of April 21st to 25th poised for fireworks, Nina begins to scheme. She knows the combination to the family safe, a detail acquired in a previous episode full of sneaky glances and hushed conversations. If Drew is foolish enough to stash the signed guardian papers there, Nina sees a golden opportunity. Gone are the days when she reacted recklessly. Now, her every move is calculated, patient, and purposeful. She imagines herself, under cover of night or perhaps during a chaotic family gathering, making her way to the safe. Heart pounding, she carefully retrieves the papers, conscious of every creaking floorboard and distant footstep. Should anyone catch her, she's already rehearsed several cover stories, losing a valuable earring, looking for a cherished keepsake, perhaps even feigning a moment of nostalgia. Once the documents are in her grasp, Nina's mind whirls with possibilities. Should she destroy them outright by shredding, burning, or even hiding them at one of her secret stashes known only to her most trusted confidants? Or would it be wiser to simply hide them away, creating confusion and delay rather than outright confrontation? Regardless, Nina knows that Drew could always draft new documents with Willow, but she's banking on getting to Willow first, planting seeds of doubt and mistrust. The grandmother's surprising alliance, Carly and Nina unite against Drew. Amidst the legal maneuvering and secret plots, a surprising, if tenuous, alliance forms between Carly Spencer and Nina Reeves. Historically at odds, the two grandmothers find rare common ground. Both feel uneasy at the prospect of Drew gaining legal authority over Wiley and Amelia. Each woman, for her own reasons, believes she can protect the children better. Carly, fiercely protective and never one to back away from a fight, makes it abundantly clear that no one, especially Drew, should wield such power over her grandchildren. Nina, for her part, is just as determined. Their shared opposition to Drew creates a temporary ceasefire in their ongoing feud, culminating in whispered strategy meetings and mutual, if begrudging, respect. This newfound unity injects fresh energy into the storyline. Instead of the usual backstabbing and manipulation aimed at each other, Carly and Nina focus their formidable talents on monitoring Drew's every move. Fans are left wondering, can two of Port Charles's most passionate matriarchs truly work together, or is this just a house of cards waiting to fall apart? Drew's questionable motives and the threat to Willow's parental rights. Beneath the surface, doubts continue to circulate regarding Drew's true intentions. While he presents himself as a benevolent supporter of Willow's wishes, some insiders suspect ulterior motives. Is Drew seeking control, or is his involvement in the children's futures more complicated than it appears? The legal ramifications are immense. Should Nina succeed in derailing Drew's guardianship plan, the resulting fallout could leave Willow without a clear safety net, or worse, embroiled in a legal mess that jeopardizes her own rights as a mother. The possibility that Drew's actions, intentionally or not, could backfire and threaten Willow's custody becomes a focal point for both personal anguish and legal intrigue. Legal experts in Port Charles speculate on the validity of the original documents, question whether Willow's decision can be easily reversed, and raise concerns about how a court battle between Drew and the children's grandmothers might play out. Meanwhile, the emotional stakes keep rising, as every move is scrutinized and every word dissected on both sides of the divide. Nina's moral justification and the dilemma of the dirty move. Nina's actions, while undeniably shady, originate from a place of intense love and fear. She tells herself that protecting Wiley and Amelia from what she sees as Drew's overreach is a moral imperative, and that sometimes, to do the right thing, one must get their hands dirty. Her willingness to lie, scheme, and potentially destroy legal documents is not lost on her, rather, it's internalized as a necessary evil in the war for family. She rehearses her defense in front of the bathroom mirror. "I only did what anyone would do to protect their grandchildren." If Drew accuses her, she'll deny everything, pointing to his own questionable moves and suggesting he simply misplaced the papers. Nina's internal dialogue is a whirlwind of rationalization and regret, but her resolve never wavers. Her behavior raises important questions for viewers. Is it ever justifiable to break the law for family? Is Nina the villain of this piece, or the desperate heroine fighting against impossible odds? The line between right and wrong becomes blurrier with every episode, inviting fans to debate and speculate about her true character. Invented scenarios and deeper analysis. What if Nina's plan fails? Let's imagine for a moment that Nina's daring plan goes awry. Perhaps Drew, ever vigilant, installs a hidden camera near the family safe, intent on catching any would-be saboteurs. Or maybe Willow, growing suspicious, confronts Nina directly, leading to a heated confrontation that exposes not only the guardianship scheme but also a host of family secrets that have long simmered below the surface. In the aftermath, Port Charles would be awash in gossip and speculation. The legal community would scramble to determine the fate of the unsigned or missing documents. Willow would be forced to make agonizing choices about who to trust, perhaps reconsidering her relationships with both Nina and Drew. Meanwhile, the children themselves, though blissfully unaware, would become the center of a storm threatening to reshape their future. This scenario demonstrates just how high the stakes are. Every maneuver has consequences, and in the world of General Hospital, even the smallest act of deception can spiral into a crisis with lasting effects. The ripple effects for Port Charles: trust, betrayal, and new alliances. Zooming out, the guardianship saga becomes a microcosm of life in Port Charles. Alliances shift, friendships fracture, and trust is constantly tested. Nina's willingness to break the rules signals a new era of bold, unapologetic action among GH's leading ladies. Drew, facing setbacks, may need to rethink his approach, perhaps seeking help from unexpected quarters or revealing vulnerabilities seldom seen before. As the week unfolds, fans should expect not just the continuation of this plot, but its evolution into something larger, a test of loyalty, the challenge of forgiveness, and the possibility that mistakes, once committed, might be too costly to repair. Stay tuned for more updates and explosive twists as the saga of Nina, Drew, Willow, Carly, and the next generation of Corinthos children continues to captivate and surprise.